I twerked on baby trees and punched dirt in order to survive because I woke up in a volcano. This is only the beginning of the story. My one goal is to reach the All the Mods star. Then maybe we might be able to get out of here. But to do that, we are going to have to be the master of all the mods that the pack throws at us. Let's test my will to see this through. So, how did the first 10 days of my life go in a volcano? On day 1, I got started by getting familiar with the starter house I woke up in and immediately started reading the quest book. The instructions were clear. Punch down a tree to gather wood, and with the power of Ultimine, I was able to take it down in a few seconds. The next quest was a bit more strange, instructing me to spam crouch to magically grow the saplings for more wood. So without questioning it, that is what I did. And my reward, of course, is more wood. And this is when I realized I should probably make a crafting table on a stick because that's going to save me a lot of time. Now I don't have to run to a crafting table to craft anymore. For the next few minutes of my life, I learned how to make dirt. This was done by composting saplings in a wooden barrel. Then we wait as the cute baby trees turn into a brown, dirty mush. The next thing I learned in the volcano was that punching dirt can produce an infinite amount of pebbles. So by shift right clicking on the dirt, I was able to achieve cobblestone. Moving on to the next quest, getting water in the middle of a volcano did not sound that easy. But actually, all I had to do was craft a crucible and place saplings in it. Eventually, the saplings will transform into water. It's just waiting that is going to take forever. So while I waited for that, I decided to move on to the next quest. This is all about crooks. It is basically just telling me how to get string. First, I gotta build a crook, then use it on leaves to get silkworms. Then finally, with the silkworms, we are now able to infest future trees, then profit string. Moving on to the next quest, hammer time. This tells us that breaking cobblestone will yield us some resources. The first break will give us gravel, then to sand, and then into dust. Now that the saplings have finished turning into water, I made some glass bottles so I can transfer the water from the crucible to a barrel. I then read the quest and saw the word sand, completely neglecting everything. That's when I made a terrible mistake, costing me a whole bucket of water. I made seawater instead. So now I had to wait another eternity to get that one bucket of water. So while the water is brewing, I decided to move on as I wanted to get as far as I could. Seeds was the next step into our progression. In order to get even more resources, we are going to have to run gravel or dust through the seeds. So I ended up crafting 9 sieves and 9 string mesh to go with it. This is when I decided to check on the crucible water. I transferred it into a barrel and placed dirt right on top. And bruh, I cannot believe my eyes when it gave me mud. Gamers, to my credit, this is not my fault, as there was a typo in the quest book telling me to do exactly this. So, I had to wait another eternity for my third attempt for clay. So while even more water brewed, I moved on. I needed flints to upgrade my silk meshes. I got to work by punching the dirt for pebbles, turned those pebbles into cobblestone, then I smashed it into gravel. Finally, getting to sieving, I received my first flint. Wow! After sieving for a bit, I upgraded my first silk mesh into a flint mesh, then rinse and repeat for the other 8. Now if I sieve gravel through the new flint mesh, I can get metals and other goodies. Now the real grind begins. Punch dirt, convert into cobblestone, cobblestone into gravel, and sieve. In the end, I get 6 iron from that, and I guess that's enough to upgrade an iron sieve. So I did. Then I was like, this method of grinding is way too grindy, even for modded Minecraft. So I decided to go back to making that bucket of water, using dust this time to make clay. Then I made my first ceramic bucket. Unfortunately, I used it incorrectly. I scooped up lava and tried to make a vanilla cobblestone generator, which did not work in this pack. But I did find out that it unlocked a secret quest. Quit punching the ground! The solution I have been looking for. I couldn't believe I didn't do the ceramic bucket quest sooner. If only I knew, I would not have been punching dirt for so long. So I quickly grinded for 6 iron so I can get 2 iron buckets for the recipe. I used the water that was already outside instead of waiting for the barrel and grabbed another bucket of lava. Got my first cobblestone generator. First thing I did was try to upgrade it to tier 2, which only required cobblestone, lava, and water, but I did not have the water yet. So I just plopped it down and I was quite confused at first on how to extract the cobblestone. But no worries gamers, a viewer helped me out. Turns out, it outputs from the top.
Wow!
Now we have cobblestone automated. No more punching the ground for us. After a bit of cleaning up the base, check out the amount of cobblestone we have generated. Insane amount. I turned all that into gravel and sieved for more resources. But you know what? All that sieving is hard work. I looked ahead of the quest and found X Machinist, a way to automate that work. You know what would have been so smart gamers? Making an infinite water source. I feel so out of touch with vanilla mechanics these days that I totally forgot about it. Also, the same day, I took the iron and gold and then upgraded the cobblestone generator to tier 4. Before I knew it, it was already day 3. You guys know what that means. It's time to compress, smash, and sieve. The biggest brain idea came to my head gamers. To speed this grind up, we can use ore hammers to double the output of the raw ores. So I took the not so useful copper, turned it all into bars, which I then turned into an ore hammer. Now I can double ores. It's day 4, and you guys know what that means. More compressing, smashing, but this time to dust so I can get some redstone, and sieving. Now that I got that grind out of the way, it's time to focus on automation. So I grabbed myself some energy pipes for power transfer, then I got an iron generator for generating power. Now it is time to build a flux sieve so I can automate sieving.
Wow.
With the generator and the sieve together, I have done it. Automation of sieving. The sieve only outputs downwards, so I had to place it like this for now. But this thing is so slow, even automated, it's laughable. I was going to make more flux sieves, but I found the upgrades for the machine. Looks like we're going to need dyes for this to work, and clay. So my plan now is to make 2 more sieves, then focus on upgrades. A wandering trader appeared, so I just pushed him down the lava. And after pushing that man into the lava, it fueled my appetite for more smashing and sieving. And I craft myself a second sieve. Now that I got that done, I need to focus on scaling up my flux sieves, so I put my focus on the upgrades, specifically the dye part. To get these dyes, I have opted to use Botania's floral fertilizer. With 1 bone meal and any 4 dyes, I can make myself a floral fertilizer, which when used on the ground spawns 3 to 4 random mythical flowers, which can also be recycled back into dye. And the process repeats until I get the dyes I want. Now that I have both flowers, I can grow them using bone meal and shears. I grew those dyes until I had enough. Now I just need one last thing for the upgrades, and that is the clay. For this, I made a sink and fluid pipes and then hooked it up to a barrel. Now that barrel has unlimited water basically, and all I have to do is place dust in there to get clay. I finally have the last piece of the upgrade gamers, terracotta. It is now day 7. I spent the next 20 minutes trying to make an auto-smelting setup, which I did give up on eventually, so what I have done is an auto-fueling setup instead. Don't worry, I'll have it figured out for the next episode, which you should totally check out by the way. After I did all that, I finally got myself the upgrade. But you know, who can live with just one upgrade? Why not make another 2 while I'm ahead? The upgrades will make the cost of the energy higher than before, but we can process 8 times more items at the same time. And that's day 8 for you. So I smashed down some iron dust and got that cooking, just to make a 3rd flux sieve. I made all their loot funnel into one chest for easy access. It is currently day 9 gamers. My goal currently is to automate sieving by day 10 and get 3 gold upgrades for each of my machines. That's gonna be a lot of resources. So I grabbed all the copper and gold and used the ore hammer on the copper and started smelting them. In my head right now, I needed 6 more gold upgrades for the other 2 sieves. So I got 6 green dye and some cyan, made more clay and cooked them up. And bam! We got ourselves 1 gold upgrade. Now that I'm getting all these resources automated, I went ahead and upgraded the iron mesh to the emerald versions. Also, I made another gold upgrade as I was short 1 earlier. I made 2 more iron generators because of the new power requirement. Because it's not day 10 yet, I decided to be ambitious and go for the flux hammer so I can automate smashing cobblestone down. So to do that, you guys know what time it is. Compress, smash, and sieve. It's also hammer time for the ores and cook time. Now it's crafting time for the hammer sieves. 6 blocks of iron, 3 hoppers, and 3 hammers. We have 3 hammer sieves. I immediately plopped them down without knowing how they work, and I hooked them up with energy to find out. After a bit of figuring it out, I came up with this setup, which smashes cobblestone, sends them down to the chest, and then from the chest, it gets piped into the sieves. It is now day 10, and I'm feeling quite accomplished. But my ambition told me to go for the 9 gold upgrades for the smashers. So I did. 9 gold ingots, 4 or 5 glass, 9 green dye, and 18 terracotta for the gold upgrade. Now we have an auto smashing and sieving setup. Now we have the basic setup for gathering resources. Gamers, the video is nearing the end, but we have so much more to look forward to in the future. Don't click away just yet though. I have something important to say. Check out the next episode. I streamed this live series live on YouTube. Like, comment, sub. Bye!